If you look through my YouTube content for the past few months, probably as far back as a year, I have a number of videos that talk about PlayStation bringing their games day one to PC. It's very interesting though, because when I talk about it now, the resistance that I face is basically zero. Like, I don't see anyone pretty much telling me anymore that this is a problem for PlayStation. Maybe I'll see one comment. Compared to back then, the amount of pushback that I used to get on those videos, it was quite fascinating. In fact, if I go and show you the comments in that regard, you're pretty much going to be very shocked. Like, a lot of people are like, nah, if they do that, they're going to destroy their brand. They're going to reduce the need for people to buy a PlayStation and all of these things, not knowing that now it actually is a valuable proposal, seeing how Xbox has basically leapfrogged PlayStation and is comfortable putting its games on PC day one. 70 is greater than 30. And your hardware now, as basically being this thing that you're putting at the forefront, no longer really matters, because you can go get your hardware, but if nobody's buying your game and they're buying your competitor or competitors' games, you're still maybe getting 30%, but everybody is making money on your behalf, while you, who has the capability to make that kind of money, are looking everywhere. Or I guess I could say it this way: Nintendo is sitting there laughing at you. That's just a simple way to say it. So what's going on right now in this whole conversation? How are these particular publishers approaching their game development strategy? What are they doing? Is it something that, gamers are dialed into? Is it something that gamers can actually vibe with? The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, PlayStation needs a day one pipeline 100%. Now, they've already let the genie out of the bottle. They've let the cat out of the bag. And also, with the cat being out of the bag, Call of Duty continues to remain a dominant game on PlayStation. Not only does Call of Duty remain a dominant game on PlayStation, but every other live service game. As much as a lot of gamers back in the more vocal sense pushed against live services, it's like they grew stronger, bigger, and mightier. Do y'all remember somewhere around 2018, maybe even 2017, with the Star Wars Battlefront debacle? Do you remember all of those drama pieces that happened when YouTube channels were saying, oh, microtransactions are bad? You would have thought that somewhere, somehow, at some point, maybe after 12 months, 36 months, microtransaction-filled games were going to disappear. The only thing we found out was it just became normalized. It's like right in our faces, these companies continue to push them regardless. And somehow, no one is actually complaining that microtransactions, well, not no one, but most people are no longer complaining about microtransactions. In fact, the new position and the new stance is ignore them if you don't want them, I guess. Now, myself, I have bought some cosmetic microtransactions, but like cheap $3, $4, but that was the end of it. I bought Raiden, what I think was the last cosmetic I bought in MK11. It was this green outfit that they purposefully put in their towers for me to grind endlessly if I wanted to get it. And I just got sick and tired of it. But then after I bought it, I took a long drive and thought, why did I fall for this trap? Well, it's because they purposefully put some of the nicer items behind those grind pieces. So what I do now is I just use the ugly outfits in my favorite fighting games. I don't care about the freaking, it's just digital clothes anyway. So screw them. That's the way I was able to basically, cut away from that nonsense at the end of the day. But there are people who, they don't care. They have the extra expenditure and they want to blow it. And like I said, it's your money. You have the choice and the right to do as you please with them. But in this conversation, though, where gamers are stuck on these paradigms, where they're stuck on these other games, and they're playing basically everything else except the PlayStation, titles on PlayStation as a platform, it makes no sense to keep your games locked into the PlayStation ecosystem when already the folk that are sitting there are the ones that already prefer PlayStation. The folk that are already playing those games there are the ones that enjoy PlayStation. The folk that are there are the ones that are going to buy your game day one. And the PC players are not going to go to PlayStation. You've seen how much resistance PC players pretty much, put up when they laughed the entire PlayStation community into oblivion. Like, they literally laughed at y'all. I was so surprised. It was so funny too, the way, the conversations went back and forth, and PC players are like, man, Most PlayStation players that were complaining about the PlayStation 4 Pro going under scrutiny, you're just not aware as to how things are done in hardware space. Just recently, the leaked PlayStation 5 Pro specs confirmed my suspicions. It pretty much had to be leaked because it never was something that PlayStation was willing to actually put out there publicly. So they had to someone had to leak it to the public to first be able to know, oh, this is what is inside of this hardware. Whereas in real world, if you're buying hardware for gaming, you just get your specs, they give it to people to test out. They test it out, everybody sees if it's worth their time or worth their money, and they pretty much walk away. In fact, sometimes the manufacturer will come out and tell you straight up, like, it's not going to be as fast like Intel did with their new line. They just said it like it's not going to be as fast as what you were expecting, and people were like, oh. That way nobody had any energy to be disappointed in that regard. So when you put all of this together, I don't see any reason why PlayStation is sitting there and doing one leg in, not just one leg in. It used to be one leg in, one leg out. No. What's happened now, it's like one leg, half buddy, or the two legs in, one arm is now sitting out, basically. Because this year alone, I can tell you that they pretty much went ahead and broke code. Seriously, they did break code. If you go back and look at the PlayStation library of games and you want to basically do a tit for tat as to how many games this year came out day one, you'll be very surprised that it was a serious number of games. The live services came, as they had already said, like that makes a big difference. Like it's a PlayStation game, whether it's a live service or not, it needs to come to PC. Then Lego Horizon Adventures is not a live service game, but that's not just coming to PC, it's going to Nintendo. Then there was Until Dawn remake. When if you compare other remakes, like say The Last of Us Part 1 remake, that did not show up day one. And then you look at Concord. So a number of games are already coming day and date. They need not waste any time anymore. Look at Spider-Man 2. It just wasted time on PlayStation for the only player base that would play it to play it. And then everybody leave it to go cold. And now it's going to come to PC, of which guess what? PC players are going to wait for it to be $20. Because it's going to be $20 pretty soon. Give it 12 months. When other games come and sit on its neck in the competitive space, like, Indiana Jones is coming out. Apparently, there's excitement for that game. I thought there was going to be... I tried to, keep my expectations super low, but I'm seeing people going, yeah, we're playing Indiana Jones. Many of them are not going to want to, be playing a 15-month-old game or whatever it is, while there's another game there that's brand new that's catering to them. And that's what these PlayStation exclusives coming late are facing. God of War Ragnarok already faced its own share. I've been trying to go ahead and check out the Steam, database to see for, let's see what it is, SteamDB for God of War Ragnarok. I think that's the best thing right now that we can actually look just to see how a PlayStation delayed game did on the, see, look at that. There are 5,000 people in game. The peak never went past 35,000. What a shame. What a shame. As much as I beat God of War Ragnarok, like in terms of not being as good as God of War 2018, still paid for it on my PlayStation 5. I still have it. I played it once and I didn't want to touch it anymore. However, I feel it's a game that a lot of people on the PC side who played the first game would have enjoyed actually continuing. Look at the peak for this game. Basically double in terms of that. But do you know what gamers are doing right now? They're looking and saying, if the game made me wait 2 years, I'll wait for it for another 2 years and get it for bottom dollar. And that's what a lot of them are doing. They're getting it for bottom dollar. They're not going to pay full price for these games because the saturation of the market is pretty much now choking even the PlayStation games. This is why you started seeing the article saying, oh, the novelty of PlayStation games have worn out. Oh, the shininess of PlayStation games have worn out because the market is just super saturated. There's a game every day on Steam. Steam is the worst place for you to actually do your timed exclusivity, if anything. It's a good ecosystem to sell games, but to do timed exclusivity and come back to Steam later is going to destroy you. There's a chart, game releases. I find it by saying game releases on Steam, SteamDB. I think SteamDB has it. It's like there it is. It's like a video game release summary by year. And what it does is it tells you how many games have been released this year alone. So in the year 2024, guys, we're in November, there have been 15,616 games released on Steam. And we still got a whole 60-ish more days. Well, less than 60, right? Is it less? It started the 3rd of November to go. with this number in mind, PlayStation cannot afford to be bringing its games down there later. Now, some people have said, oh, but these games are like a lot of indie games and, games that are not exciting or whatever it is. That's the point. A lot of them come at like cheap amounts. Some come at big amounts. Some are from 30. It's a huge buffet. Have you ever been to a buffet where you barely even, you never made it down to, some corner where the food was? That's pretty much what the PlayStation game has become. It's that part of the buffet where by the time you're done spending, by the time you do your Steam, fall sale and Christmas sale, then somebody wants to bring you a Spider-Man game in January or February. You're like, I don't have any money for this for now. I'm just going to wait till it joins the sale. So more than ever, that day one proposition is where PlayStation needs to be on PC to maintain profitability and capitalize on the market of PC gamers that are there. And yes, they're already doing it, but they need to, according to their own CFO, Hiroki Totoki, maintain more aggression on that platform. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.